everybody. I gotta say, I'm loving that new music. Thank you, welcome, and thank you for joining us today. I need to start with saying, because I'm going to start with the young woman that we are interviewing today is my sister in service, another woman of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, and she's an AKA CEO. She's also been a friend for a very long time, a member of my chapter, and has been also someone I've watched in this market, in the marketing world, and in many cases try to emulate. But without further ado, let's bring on Jessica Garrett Modkins. Hello, how are you today?
Good morning. Well, and yourself.
Thank you
so
for
much for inviting me.
Thank you for joining us. I usually have on pink when I have on a sorority sister. I got on the earrings. Falling down the dial. So thank you for agreeing to join us. I'm super excited to be able to interview you because, we kind of come from a similar background in terms of our industry. And I think we both sort of pivoted in other directions. So I really wanted to talk to you a little bit about what prompted that. And we'll start with, who are you and what do you do?
My name is Jessica Garrett Modkins, and I'm a creator. Mm-hmm. I create things from marketing to advertising to film production. That is what God has given me. He has given me the ability to birth things. And most people know me from, they say PR. That's very funny to me, but that's what resonates with them, and I just go with it. So, yeah. So I am very enthralled in many different industries, but the common denominator is there's some sort of creativity in what it is that I'm doing.
Now, I noticed on your bio, you are kind of a serial entrepreneur, and you have a lot of different creative projects on the horizon. Was that a reset of the pandemic? Did some of those projects come out of the reset from the pandemic, or was that something that you already sort of had on the horizon and just didn't have time to put into place until the pandemic?
No, I believe that the pandemic actually amplified what we were already doing. So for example, many clients were prior to that trying to do a lot of PR. They wanted to tell their story in many different industries, just trying to get on TV, radio, print. And when the pandemic hit, that arm of the business started to dwindle because people weren't looking to amplify their story. They were looking to sustain their business. And what happened with Hip Rockstar, the umbrella brand, more of our attention went to the media arm, Hip Rockstar Media. And we began to pump out information because first and foremost, even when I was in high school, I was a journalist. I would tell the news on KETV every morning here in Miami, Florida at Killian Senior High School. I went on to college, again, telling the news on a radio station. Graduated from North Carolina A&T, moved here to Miami, did it on the morning show at WEDR, telling the news every morning. My foundation was video and film production. So that has always been something that was in me. And actually in 1994, the company Hip Rockstar started out doing commercials and infomercials. I believe one of our first projects was on Panhellenics, the Panhellenic umbrella of fraternities and sororities. And so it just went back towards what we were originally founded as. And I just actually thought that I wasn't going to ever be in front of the camera again. I made my peace with just producing behind the scenes. I love it. And that was it. But when the pandemic hit, what did happen was I shifted from the back to the front. So that was a deliberate shift at that time because it wasn't necessarily a need that clients were requesting, it was something that the team and I innately knew needed to happen because the media world, Black media world here in Miami, wasn't necessarily fulfilling the need of telling the story about what resources were available on a daily basis.
Okay.
So we went live. We began talking to key stakeholders in the communities, politicians, just resources, everything that you could think of that people needed at that time. We tried to interview those people on the show. And I also think that one of the things that's so key to either shifting your business, pivoting, or pushing a one service that you hadn't been before is to get the take of your team. They have to want to shift as well. If they don't want to shift, if they don't want to go in a new direction, for lack of a better way to describe it, then you are casting a net and you're going to yield nothing in return.
Did your team agree, or did you find that you lost some people along the way?
No, I hired more people. Ended up hiring more.
Okay.
Yeah, I ended up hiring more. Yeah.
So, as I mentioned, this show is really about how to pivot and how to really stay afloat, stay alive, especially during emergency circumstances. But since you are here and you have a pulse on marketing, I actually have a friend who once made the quote or made the comment that America's true industry is marketing and advertising.
Oh,
I gotta agree. I was looking through some of the numbers. 2019 it generated 138 billion between promotional, PR, marketing, advertising. 2023 50, and by 2025 that number will double. So that's clearly something that we won't ever lose. What do you attribute that to? Where do you think that need for this industry to grow and thrive and survive, and what did you experience that with your own company?
Funny question. No, did not experience it with my company, and that's only because we grew through word of mouth. Did not do any deliberate marketing or advertising, which we did say at the beginning of this year we weren't going to move forward in that likeness anymore. We were going to be very deliberate about marketing and advertising. So our growth didn't, but I do believe that the growth and the continued increase in the amount of funds that are being delved into marketing and advertising is a sum total result of the fact that customers have options now. So they're not just in front of the television anymore. They're now on social media. They're on their cell phones. They're driving. They're taking public transportation. They're streaming. They're watching podcasts. So there are so many different opportunities to advertise to consumers. I think that business owners are trying to become a little more savvy about where they're devoting their money. So, and I would also look at how many more small businesses are they expecting to grow within those numbers, and I think there will be some sort of correlation there. I think there are going to be more small businesses who also are looking to find their tribe and their customer and just appease them.
So, what dialogue do you have to a client? Sometimes having a conversation about marketing and the importance for it and the importance of investing in it has, I know, been a challenge for me. And in this market, that's something we're starting to learn because we're new to both small business, small business development, or really developing small businesses into large corporations in this city that we live in. I think we're new to the whole understanding the need to invest in marketing. What would be the dialogue you would say to a client to really impress upon them how important that is for the growth of their business?
Well, I don't have those conversations because I am not here to teach you about what you need to do with your company. Because what has happened is I'm so passionate about marketing and advertising, I end up feeling as if I am trying to ask you to hire us to perform services for you. And I don't want to talk you into anything. I don't want to feel as if I am trying to push our services on you. So I leave the road to education alone. And if someone wants our services, that means that you understand how marketing and advertisement works. What has happened is those customers who don't understand marketing and advertisement, who don't understand the power of their brand, who don't understand their voice, those will be the $500 customer who's demanding more than the customer who wrote a check for $500,000 and walked away. It's very, very tedious because they don't understand it. And that's fine that they don't understand it. One day they will. And that time they will have an agency to help them. But when they're trying to figure it out, that's the time where I just give the service away. I don't even, if I have the time, I have the conversation and try to help them, to give them some key jewels on how to get their word out, but not in a sense where the end result is going to be that I am your agency, because I'm not your agency.
Right.
I'm not, because that takes way too long trying to educate someone on how marketing and advertisement works. That's a different agency for them.
Right.
And I'm not the agency.
And you will just own that.
Yeah, no, I'm not the agency, but I will give you advice. I will definitely do that.
So what about the trends in this market? I feel for a while, and I'm interested to get your opinion as well. In this market, for a while, there was just everybody and their sister was in the marketing industry. It was highly oversaturated. I don't feel like it's the case anymore. I think, ironically, through the pandemic, people are finding themselves in other places and spaces. And also in this market, I found, or I have found, or I feel like I found, marketing was not as big a deal when it came to investment as maybe other markets, like a New York, like an Atlanta, which I believe you were in Atlanta. Can you give me some feedback as to where you think the trends are going in our market versus other markets? What, is this a good industry to be in at this point, or looking outside might be better?
Are we talking market, meaning location, or are we talking industry?
We're talking location.
Location. Well, let me just start with this. The difference I've lived in 3 major cities: Los Angeles, Atlanta, and Miami, as it relates to marketing. That was what I was doing when I was in each of the cities. It is the driving factor of the foundation of that city. Los Angeles would not be a city that I would want to be in right now doing marketing, because the base and the root is built on show business. When you're in the car driving on the 405, you will hear Denzel Washington. You waking up and listening to Denzel Washington talking to Kerry Washington, and here comes Wendy Raquel Robinson. I mean, they're talking on the morning show. Whereas in Atlanta, you are driving, and then you have Jermaine Dupri on the radio. You have Tyler Perry. It also is that industry entertainment type of
because it's the next Hollywood. It's the new Hollywood.
Right. However, Miami, you'll wake up and you'll hear Mayor Daniela Levine Cava, Commissioner McGee. You're hearing all of these different political figureheads of communities that's building them up. And government is not going anywhere.
No, it's not.
Even in a pandemic, the government is going to continue to run.
Right.
Some things might get cut back, but they're still going to operate. But
Right.
on the flip side, Hollywood had to make a complete shift. We had some deals with Sony to do some in-person movie releases. That all stopped
Where it stopped.
because of
Yeah,
the pandemic.
exactly.
So you're looking at what is that mobile industry in that location, that market, that is going to be the driver.
Right.
So as it relates to that, I would say that Miami most definitely is a market that it's not going to really stop as it relates to the needs in which would drive our industry.
Mm-hmm.
However, to be successful, it can't just be built on government.
Yes, I agree. I agree. And you definitely might. Fortunately, I will say, I feel like in marketing, we've now been able to take our product on the road, for lack of a better way to put it. Especially with this digital space, we don't necessarily have to stay just doing things in Miami. It can potentially now be all over the world
Right.
if you have that kind of reach and opportunity. So,
Mhm.
that's actually refreshing, and maybe why we are reflecting the numbers that we're reflecting in terms of
Yeah.
how the industry is growing. So what was the first thing you did during, first of all, let me ask, was this the first sort of emergency situation that you went through where, sort of the rug came out, meaning the pandemic, or was there something else that had occurred in your past entrepreneurship life that sort of pseudo prepared you for this
I think I'm kind of just built like that. I thrive in critical situations, and that might just be the news background because when all else is failing, you've got to kind of pull it together and ensure that people understand what's going on.
Mhm.
But no, my first was Hurricane Andrew when I was
Oh,
working
wow.
at WEDR. And then the second probably would have been, I believe it was Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans. And
Mhm.
we were in Atlanta, and I was working under Shirley Franklin, Mayor Shirley
Mhm.
Franklin in Atlanta. And there were a number of different things that we had to do. I mean, you had the news media calling
Mhm.
those from Louisiana who were moving to Atlanta. They were calling them refugees.
Right.
And it was this whole educational process that we had to go through, providing
Mhm.
shelter, ensuring that they had what they needed, not just temporary shelter, but long term. So, no, this is not the first. Of course, nothing compares to the pandemic.
Right.
Nothing.
It's on a red scale of
Nothing,
itself,
nothing
however.
compares to the pandemic. But what I have learned is to just let go and just be a part of the process and not try to
Mhm.
force anything. Just
Right.
just allow things to occur.
To come to you.
Hmm.
Um, what's your biggest concern as an entrepreneur?
Um, just not having enough time.
Okay. Okay. I think that's one of my fears too. So have you been able to put some processes in place to sort of figure out how to handle that part? I mean, I know you're a wife, you're a mom, entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur, also very active in a lot of organizations. You know, how do you manage it all, or are you working on structuring a better schedule for yourself?
Well, I don't manage it all. That's number one. I don't manage it all. I don't even try to manage everything. Every day I start with devotion.
Hmm.
It is probably about 7 pages of things that I declare over my life. I look in the mirror when I say it. I say it aloud because there isn't really anything that anyone can say or do to me that's worse than the things that I tell myself.
That's good.
So
Yeah.
I have to get my mind wrapped around what it is that I'm supposed to do. And then I have this little cheat thing. These two kids that I have, every time I try to stop and just, I might want to feel lazy or not do
Hmm.
anything, they're
Hmm.
the children that kind of force you to pull it together.
Uh-huh. You have no choice.
But hello, I want this, I want that, I need to know how to do this. So I call it cheating on life because I have those two little kids that just force me to keep going. But before I had them, I wrote a book, 31 Days of Prayer for Women.
Mm-hmm.
And through that prayer journal, it's available now. It's on Amazon. I'm sure it's still for free. I've always had it for free. But what I did, some of the declarations, the heart of the declarations that are in the book, I pulled the 7 pages. I pulled the heart of those out and put them in the book, and I give that away because what we do in life is we speak things into existence.
Mm-hmm.
And the things that I was speaking to myself about me were not things that I needed to be speaking over my life. Like I would not want anyone to say those things to me. So I had to reshape my mind and what I thought of myself and what I could do and how successful I could be.
Mm-hmm.
So once
when did that happen, during the pandemic or prior to?
Oh,
like you were sort of going through that. Yeah.
This was years before I had the children, and my oldest is 13. So it's been a process. I mean, and in addition to that, every Monday I fast. It's about 8-9 hours. And what I do that because if I can't control myself, I can't control just that part of me and being able to be non-emotional about things, then I can't really lead anyone else. So that day is a day that I am just entrenched in filling myself back up with the word. So hey, it's the word. And the word is what allows me to be balanced. And I don't, and again, I'm not balanced. I don't try to be balanced, but to give you some practical things, after I do the daily devotions, I have a number of different apps. I don't go to get groceries anymore. I just buy everything on the app. And now I have started doing HelloFresh, where
I want to do that.
deliver everything to you in the box. And I get my kids involved. They are chopping onions every night. We're spending that time together to prepare dinner. As it relates to the business, I believe it was in the pandemic, my husband shifted and came on full time. So now
good.
Yeah. So I get them involved in what I think that I want to do. So
this is my idea. Don't you love it? I do that to my husband too. I do that to my husband too. So good.
So there is that quote unquote balance that's there because they're involved in it. And, you know, I'm thinking about strategically doing this with the business. Well, it's not just my business, it's our business. So let's talk about it.
Right.
So, you know, he's not just my work husband, he's my real husband.
Right.
So it makes it a whole new way of life for us. And
do you feel like bringing the family in has now helped you to really formulate or structure your business in a way, what am I trying to say, that makes you feel a little safer? You feel like, you know, what I say to him, I know will happen because he and I are of like mind and we're very synced. Do you think it's brought about that kind of energy and synergy?
Well, that was there before because he was always the confidant for things and areas that I was thinking to push the business in. But what I will say is what has happened, and I'm not sure if you face this, as a Black woman in business, those who are in position, whether they are male or female, they prefer men.
I was just having that conversation. Oh my God, yeah.
So I have asked him to take meetings.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You won't get me until we're getting ready to, we pull the trigger and the ball is rolling. Yeah.
Have you found that it's ironic you say that because literally I was just in this situation last week. But have you found that to make the transition or the conversion easier and faster, having your husband sort of be the face until the last moment?
Absolutely. There's
Wow.
one client, Roy's been dealing with them since I think 2019, and
Mm,
we just pulled the trigger. We're getting ready to execute something for them here shortly, but it is so much better. The NFL, that was Roy.
mhm,
The
mhm,
production deal, that was Roy.
mhm.
They're just, and he loves it because he is that person who enjoys having small conversation.
Right, right,
And God just didn't make me that way to
right. Okay. It's more
want
of his
to just
personality.
talk about nothing. Where I think that is such a gift. That's a gift
It
to
really is when you're in business. You're right.
to just be okay with being in that moment and not having 1,001 thoughts come to you about
Mhm,
what you need to be doing. That's
mhm.
me. Now, the only time that all of that is shut off is when I am like this.
Right.
I
Right.
can sit and talk for hours like this, but on the phone,
Right.
in a restaurant, out in public, very I
Nope.
won't I won't have very long lengthy conversations because I'm just not made like that. But it's funny because in this setting, I am able to have small talk. I am able to just chit chat and really talk about nothing and enjoy it.
Right. 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 That's funny. Okay, so that's good. So he's sort of the person that pitches and promotes for you. So
Yes,
that's awesome. That's
yeah,
really
he
cool.
handles all
That's
business
really cool.
development and hiring.
That's very cool. I don't think I can get my husband to do that for me, but he's awesome on the back end. That production stuff.
Yes.
He's my person. So what are some of your future goals? What are your plans for the future in terms of your business and otherwise?
Well, take a deep breath on this one. So we launched a platform called theculture.xyz during the pandemic. Um, we will be launching in January our radio station, which is available on Android or in the Apple Store. It's called The Culture, Soul 92.5. And
Okay.
we're very excited about that. We also have a sister company, Red Orbits, which is a recruiting firm to specialize in hiring and ensuring that in a number of different corporations are able to secure the right talent.
Right.
I also have a clothing line, well, boutique, that I'm just so excited about, and I just don't have the time
Right.
to
We're about to say, when do
don't
you sleep?
don't have the time. It's called Mally Hunter, and I have a number of different ideas for that, and
Mhm.
that'll probably end up coming to full I guess opening, by summer of next year. I thought it
Okay.
would be a lot sooner than that, but the reality is I just don't have the time.
Is it an online clothing
Yeah,
line or
yes,
okay?
yes, it's
Okay.
online.
Okay.
However, uh, if there were opportunities for pop-ups, I
You're available.
definitely would be able to do it. I just don't have the bandwidth
Mhm.
to do it. But I'm very confident that I'm going to figure it out.
You
I'm going to
will.
figure it out. I'm gonna
You've been
figure
able to figure it out so far.
Yes, yes.
Well, thank you. Oh, yeah. This is one last question I wanted to ask. During the pandemic, were you able to be a recipient or be able to participate in the CARES Act programs that were available to you?
Yeah, the
Okay,
PPP,
good.
the
Yeah.
PPP loan, we secured that twice. And
Okay.
we were a grant winner for a number of different grant
Yeah.
opportunities. If there was a grant that would come out, we definitely applied for all of them.
Absolutely,
All of them.
absolutely. And I
All,
suggest you still do. There's still
yes,
grants coming out
yes,
regularly
yes.
that I get in my box that I just kind of, shoot, hey, what's the worst they can do but say no?
Right, 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 Right.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So I am very glad to have a chance to talk to you. And I do really appreciate you giving me the time because I know you're a busy, busy woman. I don't even know if you sleep.
I get enough sleep. I do.
Where can we find you?
You can find me on every social media platform at Jessica Modkins. I'm also online. URL is jessicamodkins.com. At Hip Rockstar on all platforms, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and then the culture is theculture.xyz.
Mm-hmm.
And on all social media platforms, it's the culture XYZ as well.
Okay. Thank you again so much. And, I'll be calling you to see if I can tap your brain a little
Yes.
bit.
Thank
Tell the
you.
family I said hello.
I will. I
Okay.
appreciate you. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye. By the way, her family, also ladies of Alpha Kappa Alpha. So thank you all for tuning in today. We are so excited to be able to have a platform where we allow you to hear more about what small businesses are doing, and hopefully for those small business owners that are watching, you get some good ideas. And this is an example of someone that you definitely want to make sure you get some ideas from. So next Tuesday, we will be back here again, 10 a.m. with Calvetta Fair, who is an HR executive, by the way. So stay tuned. Keep an eye out. We'll be back here again. Thanks again, and I'll talk to you soon. Have a great day.